be so. Okay, cool. We on there now. We on there. Money,
Good money.
money, money, money.
Money, 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 money.
Uh, well, let's get to it. Nothing but to do it, but to get to it. Let me make sure I got my book right. Yeah, I do. All right. Good evening, good people. Once again, I want to welcome you back to the Black Gentlemen's Club. In this episode, we're going to explore two profound laws from Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature book. So if you actually saw the thumbnail, you know what two laws we're talking about. The two laws will be the law of envy and the law of grandiosity. So, join us real quick while we delve into these things, these emotions, tendencies that tend to shape our actions and relationships, right? So today, what we're gonna do, we're gonna uncover the silent but yet powerful forces of envy and grandiosity within us, recognizing and managing these aspects, right? Now, these things can lead to profound personal growth, professional growth, and improved interpersonal connections as well. So first, we're gonna start off with I'm gonna introduce my counterpart, my man's up on the screen. Some of you all know if you've been following us on the podcast, you know
Man, you know how to jump in a little bit late. I mean, I got a few more chapters left to get to the end of the book, but I go by DJ Low Key on the weekend by some, and by many others just call me Rich Dollars. But here to drop some knowledge on you.
Oh yeah. So kind of lay the foundation of law 10. So law 10 is the law of envy. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna first understand what is envy. Then we're gonna identify and manage and find out how we can manage envy. And then look at how envy can be a mirror to ourselves, right? So let's first start off by discussing exactly how envy, while often seen negatively, is a natural emotion that when acknowledged can be transformed into a positive force. So in the book, this good old book right here, Laws of Human Nature. See, I got my notes and stuff in there. Um, First thing I understand is what envy is. Envy is nothing but jealousy, but it stems from comparing yourself to others, right? So when you're comparing yourself to others, whether it's in a good way or negative way, but typically for envy, it's not in a negative way. It's in a negative way that you feel about yourself compared to what someone else has. And I'll use an example. Let's say that I'm looking at Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry has a bunch of money, a bunch of fame, bunch of accolades, a lot of just influence in general. And I want to have that type of status, influence, wealth, and so forth. Right? I can either look at that as like a inspiration or aspiration, or I can look at him like, man, why did he have that? Why can I have that? Like I want what he has. So then I begin to then look at it as in a negative sense to see, to start being jealous of him, to start envying the things and what he's acquired through his hard work, through his dedication, or whatever else. So it's human nature for us to really look at each other and compare ourselves. Now,
Mhm.
how we interpret that and bring that into perceive that within each other or within ourselves is where this law kind of falls into place. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, envy definitely is one of those building blocks of our society right now in America, where I feel like most of our social media outlets almost make us feel like we're behind because
Yeah.
we see people progressing at a certain rate. And I think part of it is maybe ambition, part of it maybe is inspiration, but I think that other side of it is envy, where it's like, how come they got it? How come, I'm not where they're at? So just
Hmm.
at least being aware, I think, is the first part of this, is understanding that envy is a real thing, and we probably all have a piece of it in us.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. So one of the questions I want to ask to the audience and to those who are viewing is, when have you felt envy in a way that surprised you, and what did it reveal about your own goals?
Mm.
So I'm gonna go first since
Ooh.
I'm asking the question. Um, and I would use when I was in college, right? I looked at different celebrities, like for example, like Russell Simmons, like Neo, L.A. Reid, Babyface, those executives, right? I looked at those guys like, man, I want what they have because I've been in that circle, not in their circle, but I've been
Hmm.
in close enough to see some of the things, and so I wanted what they had, and it kind of hurt me because I'm like, yo, why? How come I can't have that? And that's what I
Right.
started thinking, like, how come I can't have that versus like, how can I get that?
Hmm.
And so what that wound up revealing to me is that my mindset or my perspective on how I viewed it was skewed. Instead of thinking, I viewed it from a point of that I deserved that versus let me go get that,
Right.
or let me work to obtain that, or find out, or learn from them to figure out how can I get to that place. What about you?
That's heavy. That deserved word, I think so in the music realm, kind of piggybacking off of you, I don't think I ever was envious of other people that were famous because fame isn't aspect that I chase, but
Mm-hmm.
it is you do see certain individuals that have not put in the work or have the skill set still get the placement that you kind of feel like that should have kind of been mine.
Mm-hmm.
But so I could see, I might have had some envy, but at the same time, it's like, all right, let me figure out what I'm doing. That's what reason am I not being looked at for this? It could just be something as simple as I'm not putting myself out there enough. I'm not marketing myself well enough. But I think envy for me is my last resort. It's definitely my last resort.
Good night, little man. Yeah.
I hate to do that envy stuff, man.
Nah, I feel you. Now it makes sense, but so let's look at how to understand it. Like you said, you got to first recognize, have self awareness to see, which leads us to identify. So how
Hmm.
do we identify envy? I look at it as when I started comparing. Okay, if it's a goal of mine to have something, if any of my goals are matching up, and then I see somebody that has that, am I grateful for them to have that, or do I feel like I deserve that? That's how I start looking at. Do I feel like I deserve that? If I start thinking I deserve that,
Hmm.
then I start to become envious. Then I start to become envious. And so with me, looking at it from the point that where I figured out my trigger word is that, man, I deserve that.
Hmm.
Or if I start thinking that, that's how I start identifying that I'm becoming envious of somebody. You know,
Huge. I think envy is like one of the seven deadly sins, right?
it is. It definitely is. It's one of the deadly seven sins.
Yeah,
It definitely is.
for a reason.
Yeah. So now, so since we're gonna identify, we're gonna talk about some signs of envy, right? Some of the signs of envy actually discussed within the book. Some of the signs. One of the first sign he talks about is micro expressions. These are things that, if you ever had any enemies or people that was your friends that wound up backstabbing you,
Hmm.
you've seen these micro expressions pretty frequently. But you got to really pay attention to them because it's all about body language.
How
Where
you
they where
see
they
it?
huh?
What body part you think is the telltale sign?
Typically the face.
Mm,
I think like the face is the most. It tells the most. However,
right.
but if you can't read the, like, I will read the face. For if I can't read the face, then I will read the posture.
Hmm.
Then the posture fails, and I'm looking at your feet and your legs. Like, how are you sitting?
Right. I've
You
heard
know.
specifically the eyes tell most tells. They
Hmm.
can't. They can't maintain the eye contact, or they just. You might see a smirk at the wrong time. Like, you might see somebody say my business failed, and then they over there kind of smiling, like,
Yeah, like, yeah, good. I'm glad that shit failed.
mm-hmm. Like, dang, boy, that's how it is.
Haters everywhere you go.
Straight up, straight up.
So the micro expressions is the first sign. The,
Hmm.
the second sign he talks about is poisonous praise, where people give you that fake love, like Drake said, straight up to your face, like that
Hmm.
fake love. They be like, man, congratulations, but they really like, man, fuck you. And you like,
Pretty much,
damn,
yeah.
what I do, dog? But you can feel it because it's not a genuine congratulations.
Hmm.
It's more of a like, yeah, you got it, but I'm taking it from you, or it should have been me,
Hmm.
you know. And so you got to be very careful of those things and be able to listen to, like, when they telling you congratulations, watch their face, watch their body language, see how are they really truly excited for you, or are they just putting on the show.
Yeah.
Because that poisonous praise, hey, it sneaks up on you, dog.
Ooh, a
Sneak up
little bit
on
at
you.
a time, man. Definitely.
Yeah. The other, the well, so one more, we got two more signs. So the next sign is backbiting.
Mm.
Um, and this is where he talks about people gossip, right? Where people talk behind your back. Like if they as soon as you get ready to tell us some juicy gossip, they're smiling, can't wait to hear it.
Yep.
Be be aware. Put your guards up. Like, have some common sense. Understand they doing that around you. They also doing that behind
Hmm.
you. If
Yep.
they willing to gossip behind you and they willing to gossip in front of you, what do you think they're doing behind you? They're doing the same thing. So the backbiting is the third sign. Now the last sign that he talks about was the push and pull, and this one was kind of tricky to me. So I'm gonna read you what he said. He said they typically display unusual eagerness to become your friend.
Mm.
They saturate you with attention. If you are in any way insecure, this will have great effect. They praise you a little too effusively too early on. Through the
Hmm.
closeness they establish, they are able to gather material on you and find your weak points. Suddenly, after your emotions are engaged, they criticize you in pointed ways. Criticism is confusing, not particularly related to anything you have done, but still you feel guilty. Then they return to the usual initial warmth. The pattern repeats. You are trapped between warm friendship and occasional pain they inflict.
Mm.
That's what says the tricky one.
That's interesting. That's interesting. It's crazy how you defined it too. So it's like now you kind of laid it out. Like, how can you like differentiate harmful envy versus constructive envy? Because
That's that's funny.
just
What do you think?
curious. Because I think off top, humans are emotional beings, and we're going to take it all as harmful at first, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it. I don't even want to call constructive envy anymore. But if it has to be, it has to be that wording. But I think it comes from the source. Like if your parents see something, like sometimes we do things that our parents can't imagine because they wasn't that's not the lifetime that they was here for, and we make
Yeah,
things happen that you're moving around too much, you're traveling too much, and it might seem envious from their stance because like how are you doing all this, but they don't understand that we are in a different generation. So I think their constructive positive envy might be like, I was never able to do this in my time frame in my lifetime, but you're doing it. But they also have a safety net where they don't want us to fail, so it has a positive aspect to it, but also can be kind of like you kind of like not supporting me. I got it. Just say you got me, and I'm gonna keep pushing forward.
well, true. So the thing about what his perspective of this is about you. This whole entire book is about interpersonal.
Hmm.
So you can use constructive envy as a positive
Hmm.
because it's about how can you use the envy for a more constructive, way of
Hmm.
outputting how you're feeling.
Okay.
So that's what he's really kind of like delving into. But you are absolutely right though about that part. The difference between them,
Hmm.
because what I figured out when I was reading it was the difference between the constructive side versus the negative side is that the negative side you're looking at, like you said, once again, from this is the person now receiving the envy. I'm
Right.
gonna talk from the person receiving it. So the person receiving the envy needs to identify the signs of what it looks like, and then they need to identify the character traits of these
Hmm.
different people, and that's what he goes into in the next one. He goes into the different envier types,
Mm.
and this was actually a really good. I like that part. That envier type part was fire because the envier types. The first one he goes off with is the leveler, and this is what he said. He said when you first meet them, levelers can seem rather entertaining and interesting. They tend to have a wicked sense of humor.
Hmm.
They are good at putting down those who are powerful and deflating the pretentious. They also seem to have a keen nose for injustice and unfairness in the world.
Hmm.
But where they differ from people with genuine empathy for underdogs, keyword empathy for underdogs, is is that levelers cannot recognize or appreciate excellence in almost anyone,
Hmm.
except those who are dead.
Wow.
They have fragile egos. Those who have achieved things in life make them feel insecure. They are highly sensitive to feelings of inferiority. The envy they initially feel for those who are successful is quickly covered up by indignation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just the first type. This person, like you said, they always, they're very affectionate. They have charisma. They have that je ne sais quoi. They have charisma. So they're gonna be entertaining. They're gonna be able to have good humor, but
Right.
they're very fragile. It's kind of remind me of like when I think about that, I think about music artists.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, especially the ones that are very entertaining, like Michael Jackson was just like this. He was very entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
but fragile ego.
Definitely.
Fragile ego. He can easily pinpoint injustices. Your injustice warriors that can always pinpoint when something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But then you criticize them, and it's like all hell break loose.
Well, then who else is like? Well, we'll keep it back to introspective because there's a whole bunch of people like that. But we'll keep it grounded.
And then the second one is called the self entitled slacker.
Hmm.
So this person pretty much he says in the world today, many people rightfully feel entitled to have success and good things in life, but
Right.
they usually understand that this will require sacrifice and hard work. Some people, however, feel they deserve attention and many rewards in life as if these are naturally due to them.
Hmm.
These self entitled slackers are genuinely quite narcissistic.
Hmm.
They will make the briefest outline for a novel or screenplay they want to write or an idea for a brilliant business and feel that that is enough to attract praise and attention.
That's right.
It's kind of like what we did. We just the quick microwave society, right? But
Yeah,
we have
buddy.
you just because you posted on Instagram, you thinking that you're supposed to be famous. Because you got a TikTok, you think you want to be famous, you want to be a celebrity, or want to make a bunch of money, but you're not willing to do the work or put the work in. You know it requires work,
Right.
but you think it only requires a minimum amount of work.
Yeah. The shortcut. Everybody wants the shortcuts.
Correct. And then the other one he has is called the status fiend.
Hmm. Status fiend.
This one he says, as social animals, we humans are very sensitive to our rank and position within any group.
Hmm.
We can measure our status by attention and respect we receive.
Hmm.
We are constantly monitoring differences and comparing ourselves with others. But for some people, status is more than a way of measuring social position. It is the most important determinant of their self worth. You'll notice such friends by questioning questions they ask about how much money you make,
Right.
whether you own your home, what kind of neighborhood it is in, whether you occasionally fly business class, or
Yeah.
and all of the other pretty things that that can use to point as comparisons. And I think about when I hear that, I think about you remember Clueless, the
Okay.
movie Clueless, or even the Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
Yep.
when Will first came from Philly to
Hmm.
Bel Air, and Carlton and his friends was kind of like it
Hmm.
was like that. It's that status fiend. If I gotta have my Louis Vuitton, I gotta have my
Exactly.
Gucci, what I'm saying. Or even if you go into like think about the military or in any job you work in, you have supervisors who say I'm the supervisor, I'm the
Hmm.
manager, and they use that as determining who they are.
Right. Right. The title. The title. They want the title to earn the respect instead of the work to
Correct. Which
earn it.
kind of goes back to another book that I've read before, which is the five levels of leadership. The first
Hmm.
the first level is positional. That's the very bottom level. That's the entry level of leadership. You
Right.
get put into position, so you have leadership just by your position. But some
Yeah.
people hold on to that position and use it as a status
That's real. That's real. Real. Trust me.
you got anything to say
Trust me.
about that one?
No, I do not.
Sure.
No, I do not. I shall keep that one to myself.
You're gonna tuck that away. So
Hmm.
he also talks about two more. I'm gonna give you the last two. So the next one is the attacher. So this is what he says about this person. I'm gonna give you what he says, then we discuss it. He said, in any court-like environment of power, you will inevitably find people who are drawn to those who are successful or powerful, not out of admiration, but out of secret envy.
Hmm.
They find a way to attach themselves as friends or assistants. They make themselves useful. They may admire their boss for some qualities, but deep down they believe they are entitled to have some of the attention he or she is getting without
Hmm.
all the hard work. They the longer they are around the higher achiever, the more feelings gnaw at them. They have talent, they have dreams. Why should the person they work for be so favored?
Mm. I think Rocco said, "Get them squares up out your circle" a long time ago.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, that's real. I didn't think about that one because I feel like success. Automatically expect you to have a like a groupie, like a posse around you. But
Hmm.
I didn't think of the negative. Like you kind of already know that's part of you coming up. You're gonna have people that's not you, so they just attach to you. But
But can you identify those attachments and then jettison those joints when you find them?
I feel like we give so many passes because it's like the homies you already know is gonna be up there with you. So we give them a lot of passes, even though we might see the jealous traits and envious traits about them. It's like, this still this my homie. I'm a look out for him regardless.
Yeah, which remind me of something we're going to discuss in a future episode on the podcast about standing outside the circle.
Don't give him too much now.
I don't give them too much. We're gonna talk
Don't give him
about it
too much.
though.
Keep
But
pushing. One second, I'll get right back to you. Keep
yeah, yeah.
going.
So the last trait or the type of person that's envious is the insecure master. He says, for some people, reaching a high position validates their self opinion and boosts their self esteem. But there are some who are more anxious. Holding a high position tends to increase their insecurities, which they are careful to conceal. Secretly, they doubt whether they are worthy of the responsibility. They look at others who may have more talent, even those below them, with an envy inside. So you have and it goes kind of like back to what I said before about the status fiend. You have some people who are actually status fiends and insecure masters who are a master at their craft, but they don't want to develop those who are below them, or if they see somebody below them who has the same talent level or even more, they're going to do anything they can to maintain their position and their place. And they're going to still be envious of those who have talent below them or those who have talent above them instead of admiring them for the talent that they do have. Um, that's why when Loki said what he said about identifying, once again, it's an introspective thing. So you need to first understand what the signs are, and then understand how to identify the personnel, right? The personnel who you need to identify are these types, right? So just moving a little bit forward because we want to give you tips of how to manage the envy, right? So before that, I want to kind of read to you just a little snippet out of the that he talks about before managing, right? He said we all compare ourselves with others. We all feel unsettled by those who are superior in some areas that we esteem. We all react to this by feeling some form of envy. It's pretty much wired in our human nature, right? He said studies have shown that monkeys feel envy too. He said you can begin with a simple experiment. He said next time you hear about some sudden success of someone in your field, notice the inevitable feeling of wanting the same. In parentheses, he put the pain. That's a term. It's another term that means wanting the same. And the subsequent hostility, however vague, toward the person you envy. He said it happens quickly, and you can easily miss this transition, but try to catch it. It is natural to go through this emotional sequence, and there should be no guilt attached. So the first part of managing this envy is identifying it, being aware of it, understand it's natural, but then catch it and then quickly turn it. So we can go to the next step of how to manage, right? So the first step of how to manage is to move closer to what you envy. And when he says that, he said envy thrives on relative closeness. In a corporate environment where people see each other every day, in family, in a neighborhood, in any group of peers, but people tend to hide their problems and to put their best face forward. We only see and hear their triumphs, their new relationships, their brilliant ideas that will land them a gold mine. If we move closer, if we saw the quarrels that go behind the closed doors or the horrible boss that goes with the new job, we would have less reason to feel envy. So what he's saying when he says move closer, he's saying that, and once again, I'm gonna go back to Tyler Perry. In my case, let's say that I want what Tyler Perry has, but I don't understand what it took for him to get there. I don't know the backstory. I don't understand the struggles, the challenges that he faced every day. In order for me to really understand that, I need to move closer to what I'm envying. So if I really want those things, those statuses, and I feel like I deserve that, well, let me figure out what it takes to get that. And it may take a lot of sacrifice. It may take a lot of struggle, a lot of heartache to get there. But am I willing to go through that? So that's why he says move closer so you can really get a clear picture and a clear view of what you're seeing, and not just the social media view of seeing all the shiny good things. Nobody's having a bad day. It's always peaches and cream every day. The next step he talks about is engage in downward comparisons. And what he means by that is it's not a negative thing. What he means is trying to have you understand you have to be grateful for what you have, because others don't have the same means you have. He said pretty much look at somebody who has less than you and just be grateful with what you have right now. Understand that you were blessed with the ability that gave you at this time frame. You know, he wants you to understand that look down, look at those who don't have what you have. Be aware of that, but then also be aware that you're in a better position, and then look up and understand somebody's above you that has more than you have. So if you can do that downward comparison, that will ease your ego. That will ease your envious. That would you start putting more gratitude forward, so that way you don't have to be as envious as you were before. The other step to managing, he said, was practice mitfried. And pretty much what that means is we talked about it in one of our podcasts, the gift of pain.
Mm.
Seek the pleasure in the pain. Go through the process. And I'm gonna use the analogy of when you lifting weights, right? When you lifting weights, and let's say you lifting 135 pounds, one plate on each side of the bar, and you're doing 15 reps, for 5 sets, for 4 sets. You're doing that over and over again for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, but your muscle's not gonna grow anymore. It's gonna get capped out at a certain time frame, right? So in order to grow, in order to grow your muscle and grow your power, you got to add weight. You got to add that resistance. When you add that resistance to it, you begin to cause micro tears again to your
Right.
muscles, new micro tears, new fibers. That way your muscle can get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's what he means by practice that. Understand that there's pleasure in doing the hard work. There's pleasure in seeing other people succeed, because their success can fuel you to want to be successful too. So that's what he means by he says practice meat freed. The other one he has, this is the second to the last one, or first to the last one, is transmute envy into emulation. And it's pretty simple, straightforward. I'm gonna use Tyler Perry again because I used him earlier as an example for me. So let's say that I want to have what Tyler Perry has. I want to have the success. I want to have the status. I want to have, having everything being black on. I want to be able to give back, do things in the community. Well, if I want to do those things, why not walk behind the footsteps of somebody who just did it instead of envying him?
Hmm.
Why not emulate who I'm looking at?
Makes
start
sense.
start 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 developing his mindset, start developing his work habits, start developing his efforts, do those things, start emulating those things. Or if you're a Christian, follow Jesus, start emulating what Jesus did, start practicing what he did. If you start practicing these things and start emulating it over time, just like lifting weights in the gym, you'll become used to the technique. Like I told my boy before, lifting 135 pounds, 15 reps for four sets for 3 months. After a while, at
Yeah.
first when you first started, your technique wasn't good. Now after 3 months, your technique is almost spot on. Or you can either get lazy, you can get
Mm.
more complacent and start just going as fast as you can, and sacrificing the actual technique. So you need to understand how to transmit that envy into emulation. Start emulating what you want to be or what you're envying. You have anything to add to that real quick?
Uh, it's just kind of made me think about our discussion where just understanding what enough is and what enough looks like. Because if
Yeah.
you already have your predefined enough, I think it's hard to be envious if you already know that your cup's full. It's like I'm already good. You got more than me, but I literally have enough. I got enough of everything that I require in life. What you're talking about, Maslow hierarchy, I think you brought a little bit of that up. That
Yeah.
once you're a certain level of that pyramid's filled, it's like I'm kind of good. I can keep doing more to meet my highest potential, my apex,
Mhm.
but I'm good.
Yeah, I feel the same way because I feel like when you feel like you hit your the top of your cup,
Hmm.
do you want to like it says in the Bible, my cup runneth over? Do you want your cup to run over?
Right.
If you just stop there, you can get complacent, and enough is all you settle for.
Yeah.
But then if you want to be able to your cup to run over, that's when your cup runs over, that affects other people.
Hmm.
That's the level I'm trying to get to, where my cup runs over and I can pour out and affect other people.
Well, I think that's the part. If you don't know when your enough is, you'll never be able to overflow.
Yep.
And that's the part that you have to know what enough is for you. Then
Correct.
it can keep going.
Yeah, I agree. The last step in order to figure out how to manage, or the last step to manage envy, is admire human greatness.
Hmm.
I ain't gotta say nothing else.
Shoot, we are great. I ain't gonna
I
lie.
mean, you see how everybody talking about LeBron James better than Michael Jordan. They're admiring his greatness.
Hmm.
I'm not. I don't agree with LeBron James being better than Michael Jordan. However, I still admire that man's greatness. He's awesome.
I
I
just
mean,
admire how
LeBron
long he been
James.
in the league. He don't even got to do much else. He's been in the league for longer than almost anybody I know.
Without thinking about it, he going to the Hall of Fame. As soon as he retired next year, Hall of Fame.
100%.
So like you have to be aware. If you see greatness, be thankful for it. Learn from it. You know, like like I like to do. I like to dissect it, take it apart, figure out how it works, then put it back
Hmm.
together. Almost like a watchmaker.
Mm.
So that's how you can manage envy. So to conclude this discussion, this portion of the discussion,
Right.
I want to look at envy as a mirror, because we need to look at how can it serve as a mirror to us, revealing our
Hmm.
deepest desires and aspirations. So I have a question. Mm, can you share a personal experience where envy taught you something valuable about yourself? Anybody in the group chat, you want
That's
to
for the chat.
put it,
Yeah,
you
chat.
want
That's
to
for
put
the
it in the
chat.
chat, put it down there. Like if you catch this video later, hey, comment down below. Exactly. Can you share a personal experience where envy taught you something valuable about yourself?
Hmm.
Please keep people names, Jane Doe or John Doe or whoever. Don't put somebody's personal name in there or at them personally if you don't want that to be a problem between you and that person.
Smoke.
but,
Send the
but
smoke.
definitely, if you want the smoke, I can't tell you what to do with your
Right.
life. You get it how you want to get it. But real quick, while we in the middle part, when you get a chance, everybody, please, if you find this information valuable, you like what we're putting out, you want to see more. If you're a man and you out here and you trying and you going through, you having failures, you having success, you get thoughts and emotions that you really want somebody to listen to or hear. You get ideas about topics. Please follow us on BGC Club Podcast on all social media platforms. That's our handle. We on Instagram, we on Facebook, we on TikTok, we on X. I think yeah, it's X now, not Twitter. We on X, and
X.
we are
I
here
hate
on
it.
YouTube. So please, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell icon. We
Hmm.
definitely thank you for doing that. Like the video, share it, follow us. Keep helping us grow. It takes more than one person to do this. So please keep helping us grow slowly.
Big
That's,
facts.
we're not selling anything to you. We're not selling no courses, none of that stuff. We're just trying to give you information for the free. We're
Mm.
not trying to sell you nothing. When we do decide to sell you something, or we want to sell you something, we will let you know way in advance, and it's not going to be we're trying to make you feel guilty to buy something from us. We want it to be genuine,
Hmm.
because we know how that feels.
Yeah, we done been it. Been there, done that.
Pretty much. So moving on now, kind of we're gonna move from the shadows of envy, and we're gonna pretty much ascend to the heights of now grandiosity. We went from a low point, now we're going to a high point.
Big as the what?
And this is an emotional thing. These are emotional things. Like he said,
Hmm.
big as the what? Big as the who? It's only getting bigger
Grand
though.
grandiosity.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is where we have a sense of we have an inflated sense of self importance.
Hmm.
That's what awaits us, right? So the law of grandiosity. I'm gonna read you all The first, so he has an abstract. I got it kind of highlighted. I don't know if y'all can see it, but I'm gonna read you majority of that abstract that he puts to the front of the book. So he says, we humans have a deep need to think highly of ourselves. If that opinion of our God, of our goodness, greatness, and brilliance diverges enough from reality, we become grandiose. We imagine our superiority. Often a small measure of success will elevate our natural grandiosity to even more dangerous levels. Our high self opinion has now been confirmed by events. We forget the role that luck may have played in the success or the contributions of others. We imagine we have the golden touch. Losing contact with reality, we make irrational decisions. Law of irrationality, law of one.
Right.
That is why our success often does not last. Look for the signs of elevated grandiosity in yourself and in others. Overbearing certainty in the positive outcome of your plans, excessive touchiness if
Mm.
criticized, a disdain for any form of authority. Counteract the pull of grandiosity by maintaining a realistic assessment of yourself and your limits. Tie any feelings of greatness to your work, your achievement, and your contributions to society. That's just
Mm.
the abstract.
It's a deep abstract.
So
Shoot.
we're gonna talk about the pitfalls of pretty much feeling superior. That's gonna be the first one. So kind of want to examine how a sense of superiority can disconnect us from the reality and the importance of grounding our self-perception in humility and self-awareness. And if I don't know if anybody caught exactly what grandiosity means, did you catch that? What grandiosity means at
So
all?
what? Feeling superior for the most part.
Well, grandiosity, and I'll go give you kind of like a quick definition of it. I'll give you an example because I think the example will help actually
Hmm.
illustrate the definition. So let's say I'm working on a business. I'll use myself for example. So the business I made, avant gardes, right?
Right.
Entertainment, or yeah, entertainment group. So I made the group. I had a good idea. I put it on paper. Bought the LLC, made the website, all that good stuff. Had a great feeling. Thought it was going to be bigger than what bigger is the what,
Hmm.
all that good stuff. Started the website. Started trying to get things in order. I did too much too soon. I had a good idea, but it was too much for the details that really entail with that came along with. That's what happened when people write business plans
Yep.
or business plans,
Business
but it's
dreams,
not
business
really a
out. Yeah.
business plan
Yeah.
or it's not a business strategy. They wrote a one page thinking that's a business plan.
Hmm.
We all been there because we have thoughts that we can do something because we seen somebody else do it, but we don't really do our research to see how much detail and how much stuff it takes to do it. So had this great vision, try to launch it. It was bigger than what I thought it was gonna be, and it failed. So that kind of tells you the grandiosity. I thought that because I mean I know I can do that. It's too easy. That's simple to do. So I passed it off, and those type of things, you become bigger. You make yourself bigger than really what it should be. You should be really paying attention to the small details, to the particulars of the situation or the problem.
Right.
But when you put yourself bigger than the problem and thinking that you cannot be wrong, you cannot, you can't fail, that's where this comes into play.
What's that like? Similar to us not knowing our market. Like we put a product out that the market doesn't want, but we feel like the market needs.
Yep, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly
Okay.
what you said.
Okay. Just tying it in. 'Cause I remember we was talking about something similar. I'm like, it sounds kind of familiar.
Yes, so it's the same. It's literally the same thing. So he goes in, and I'm just gonna give you, not gonna go too deep into um all the details, but I do want to first give you the first, like, one of the pitfalls. And he used that. He said the psychological disease grandiosity, which is what we just talked about, as you feel its effects, the normal realistic proportions are reversed. Yourself becomes larger, and I'm trying to turn the page, comes larger and greater than anything else around it. That is the lens through which you view the task and the people you need to reach.
Hmm.
This is not merely deep narcissism. Law number two:
Mhm.
in which everything must revolve around you. This is seeing yourself as enlarged, the root of the word grandiosity, meaning big or great, as superior and worthy of not only attention, but of being adored. It is a feeling of being not merely human, but godlike.
Mm. God, like interesting.
What the trigger? What you thinking?
So it's like this is the next level past narcissism.
Oh
It's
yeah, it's
like
way past that.
okay, this is that Super Saiyan narcissist. Like,
Oh yeah, you Goku, go here. Was it Goku power level over 9,000?
mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. How so? Do you think you've displayed it in your life so far? I think I have in different areas, but
No, I have it sometimes.
like,
I mean, I think everybody has in certain times, especially when you've experienced. Like, I think the more you experience in certain things,
mm-hmm,
because it's really three. It's like a triangle. It's three sides to me. The grandiosity,
mm-hmm,
like the pinnacles when you think you got like.
right,
The part I'm talking about before when I was talking about earlier about me and my business was like the left side of the triangle, like that the bottom part where you like you have this big idea, this big plan, and then
mm-hmm,
you think you ain't got to worry about the small stuff because you got it. You understand how it goes. So you kind of naive. You're a little bit naive and narcissistic, but
right,
then you really get narcissistic. That's the godlike part. That's up top where you feel
mm-hmm,
like based on my experiences, I ain't gonna mess this up, and so you get complacent. And then the third part, which is the triangle, which is the bottom part, is when you take those lessons and now you actually know how to level things out and really do your due diligence, which is what we're doing, which we've been doing lately, is doing our due diligence and really understanding that we're not bigger than what we're working on.
I think you honestly do need a balance of grandiosity and humility,
Yeah,
like because you need to have that drive. Like I can only think of Kanye when I think of this topic, but that I'm going to win no matter what you say. I am a god or whatever crazy things he might say. But that's also that same drive that propelled him to where he's at. But he just has to come back down sometimes to be humbled and like a balance of it.
that's why I say it's that triangle
Mm-hmm.
because that humbleness is that right side of the triangle. Now you already went up to the point you think you got, like now you got to fall right back down, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still connected to the other side because you're like, yo, you looking back like, I see what I did in the beginning. Let me not do it. Let me take my time and do my due diligence and
Right.
understand that I'm good, but I'm not God.
Right.
I make mistakes. You know, I'm not bigger than whatever I'm working on. What I'm working on is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that's where it shifts. That's where the triangle, like if you split it in half, that's where it mirrors. It's like the left side of it is like you're bigger than the problem, but then the
Mm-hmm.
right side of that part is like no, the problem is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me work on the problem and decrease me. But the top part is like where I don't care about the problem. I'm bigger than all of it.
Yeah. That's tough. That's that mirror. You said the self reflection.
Yeah,
Dang.
it's crazy, man. I tell you, dog, it's crazy. So he talks about. So he's talking about first of all recognizing grandiosity. We talking about identifying signs of grandiosity in ourselves, and then understanding its triggers and crucial steps towards maintaining balance and fostering genuine confidence. We're gonna talk about that because he gives us the grandiose leader. He gives us like an archetype.
Mm-hmm.
The grandiose leader, he says, this way, I'm gonna read you the first part of it. He says that people with high levels of grandiosity also possess some talent and a lot of assertive
Mm-hmm.
energy. They can rise to positions of great power.
Right.
Trump, I'm
Oh, he
just gonna say
name
it.
dropping. He name dropping.
No,
Okay.
I want to name drop. I mean, he's one. Joe Biden is another one. Like they all like some of those guys. They got great talent. Like Trump is a great businessman,
Of
awesome
course. Yeah.
businessman, awesome business. You can't deny that. And he has
Mm-hmm.
assertiveness. He has that assertive energy. That's why he can rise to power so greatly because that influence
Mm-hmm.
rise to power so greatly. Real quick. He said their boldness and confidence attract attention and give them a larger than life presence.
Right.
Mesmerized by their image, we often fail to see the underlying irrationality in their decision making process, and so follow them straight to their follow them straight into some disaster. They can be very destructive.
Yep. Yep. The Pied Piper, just following him.
Hey, R.
Yes,
Kelly,
sir.
You just named another one, R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact way.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So he said, so he gives like little traits, little things. He said one thing that the grandiose leader like to say is, "I'm destined." That's their thought process. I'm destined. And he said that grandiose leaders often try to give the impression that they were somehow destined for greatness. They tell stories of their childhood and youth that indicate their uniqueness, as if fate singled them out.
Mm,
Right? He said they highlight events that show them from early on that their unusual toughness or creativity, either making such stories up or interpreting the past.
mm,
Kanye.
mm-hmm.
See, like you have people you can tie to these. The other one he talks about is, I'm the common man or woman. I'm the everyday man or woman. Like other words,
Although,
in some cases, grandiose leaders
mm-hmm.
may have risen from the lower classes, but in general, they either come from the relatively privileged backgrounds, or because of their success, have lived removed from the cares of everyday people for quite some time.
Okay, that
You
makes
already know
sense
who
too.
that's. You know who that person could be.
So he's saying like, although they did come from a lower stat, they started a leg up kind of. They it's re-explain that because I want to know how that
So
relates to a couple of people I actually
so we th-
identify with.
so when you think about that, he talks about how he said, in some cases, grandiose leaders may have risen from lower classes, but in general, they either come from relatively privileged backgrounds, or
Mhm.
because of their success, have lived removed from the cares of everyday life, everyday people for quite some time. So, if we want to give you a perfect person, let's think about a celebrity, right? We can think about any hip hop artist, any rap, any R&B artist, anybody. You can think about anybody. Any of those
Mhm.
celebrities, typically, a lot of times, especially politicians, use this one all the time. Politicians
Right.
always use this part against the working class. Oh, I came from a working
Right.
class family.
Yep.
Oh, I'm the everyday man or woman.
Yep.
I'm Joe Blow, but you haven't been even around Joe Blow.
Right. Right. Right.
And the only time we see you with Joe Blow is when you come to church or come to
Mm.
the Breakfast Club to pander for votes.
That makes
See what I'm saying?
sense.
Same thing with hip hop and R&B artists. The only time you come to the hood is when you want to give out turkeys.
Mm. So the main thing is just them proclaiming that they started from where they didn't start.
Well, no, they may have started. They may have started from there, but they're so disconnected because like like when you get higher up in leadership, right?
Hmm.
You have a disconnect from the lower level of your foot soldiers or your workers, the hourly wage workers. You're
Right.
very separated from them when you're the CEO. The
Hmm.
CEO don't know what's going on with the guy that makes $10 an hour.
Right.
He don't even give a shit
That's true.
until it's time to time to come down to McDonald's to come visit you, or make a store visit or make a press run. Then he wants to be if I'm in local McDonald's, I want to be around the people and showing I'm the common folk.
Yep.
But you don't really feel like that. But you want to act and portray that you're the common man or the common woman. But in reality, you've been disconnected for the longest.
All right. Sounds good.
Yes, it
Sounds
preaches
good.
good.
Hmm.
you know,
It
it's like when some
sounds good.
preachers out, act like yeah, man, I ain't never did no sin. You sinned before. We all sinned.
Hmm.
You don't try to judge me. We can't we can correct each other, but we don't need to judge each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's tough.
So the other one he talks about was, I will deliver you. This is the deliverer, the person that wants to be say that can proclaim, I will deliver you. He said these types often rise to power in times of trouble and crisis. I ain't gonna
Hmm.
say no names. I ain't saying no names. Shout out to Tank and RB Money Podcast.
Dang.
Their confidence is comforting to the people or to the shareholders.
Hmm.
They will be the ones to deliver people from many problems they are facing. In order to pull this off, their promises have to be larger yet vague. By being large, they can inspire dreams. By being vague, nobody can hold the person to account if they don't come to pass. Since there are no specifics to get hold of, the more grandiose the promises and visions of the future, the more grandiose the faith they will inspire.
Hmm.
Preachers, most preachers, besides politicians, do
Yeah.
this one the most.
Politicians
They
for
do
sure.
this the most. Preachers do this. They preachers and politicians do this the most. They will say, "God gonna give you a vision. God is not a genie, dog. God gonna bless you. He gonna do this, that. Sow a seed. Da, 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 da." He could deliver you. He will deliver you. If you sow into the man of God, you sow into the man of God, he will deliver you. This is that.
I think even right along with it, this reminds me of campaign season. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I'm gonna erase all the student loans and I'm gonna do this. Everybody vote for him, then nothing. You know.
Absolutely. It's very vague. It was like, oh, we'll tackle the immigration problem. Well, what specifically of the
Hmm.
immigration problem are we attacking?
Yeah.
What is your plan? What is your process? Oh no, no, no. We gonna build a wall. Okay. From where to where?
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
For
It's
real.
like all types of stuff. Like, we're gonna give you reparations.
Yeah.
Okay, how much? When? When the timeline?
Don't ask all them questions.
What's the process for that? How many people you got to go through to get? It's the big promises, but it's very vague. It's like when people prophesize in church, they give you prophecies that's very vague because prophecies are supposed to warn, not say you're gonna get a blessing.
Yeah, that's how you get the most emotion. Is when you give somebody a big
And
platform and without the steps needed to make it happen.
and what does it say? It says the more grandiose the promises and vision of the future, the more grandiose the faith they will inspire.
Hmm. Yeah, man. They do.
So now the last one, not last one, shoot, she had three more to go. The other one is I rewrite the rules. Other words, he said a secret wish of humans is to do without the usual rules and conventions in place in any field, to gain power, yet just by following our own inner light. My truth, your truth, our truth. When there's only one truth.
That's it.
When grandiose leaders claim to have such powers, we are secretly excited and wish to believe them.
Right.
And I'm gonna use it. Donald Trump, he said this shit. He said that he's gonna was it get rid of the deep state or some shit like that. He said that just like Joe Biden, like he talked about, saying, "Oh, he's gonna cancel all debt, but he's sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, and we got mad homeless people." But besides the politics, I'm just using those people as an example because this is something that they like. I rewrite the rules. You know, this is things that we're as us as human beings, we want people to come and save us. We have a savior complex, so it kind of highlights some stuff for you
Yeah, it's happening right in front of our faces, man.
all the time.
So what this whole book is pretty much the playbook to everybody that's in the game, and we just got to identify them.
Oh yeah, you can identify them. If you identify them, you can use the 48 Laws of Power. If you read
Hmm.
that book by Robert Greene, all his books, all five of his books, all really tie in together.
Hmm.
If you really want to be honest, but I don't know if people really recognize that. But they all tie in together. If anything, I would read this book first, then the 48 Laws of Power, then the 33 Strategies of War, and then I would read the Art of Seduction. Then I read the other 40, the 50 books of power, the one that had 50 Cent on there because he
Hmm.
added two more laws. That's how I would cap it out. But that's just me. I forgot about. I'm sorry, the Art of Mastery. I would read that too before that. But those are the books that he's written, and I have
Okay.
all of them.
I know about the 50th.
Yeah,
Heard of the other ones.
with 50 wrote that one, but Robert Greene helped them with the book, so it's
Mm.
technically a co-authorship,
Okay, so it's not the same laws, just plus two. It's like 50's version
pretty
of it.
much.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Plus two more, but Robert Greene also helped them out with that.
Okay.
And then the other one he talked about is I have the golden touch. He
Midas.
said, those with heightened grandiosity would try to create the legend that they have never failed. They have never really failed. If they
Mm.
were failures or setbacks in their career, it was always the fault of others who betrayed them.
Right.
And the example he gave was General Patton. I mean, General Patton, Jim MacArthur.
Hmm.
But he said by trumpeting his success and finding endless excuses, such as betrayals for his losses, he created the myth of his magical battlefield powers. Grandiose leaders inevitably resort to such marketing magic.
Mm.
When I think about that, about people who said that I didn't fail, it was their fault.
Right.
You never accept an accountability for your actions or your role within the loss. So you're never gonna learn the lesson from what you just experienced. Instead, you're deflecting it to somebody else into another issue, which then in turn you still never like I said, you never learn. So you're doomed to kind of repeat the same action and the same play over and over again. The other one so this is the last one. The last one is the I'm invulnerable. He said the grandiose leader takes risks. This is what often attracts attention in the first place. And combined with the success that often attends the bold, they seem larger than life. But this boldness is not really under control. They must take actions to create a splash in order to keep the attention coming that feeds their high self opinion. They cannot rest or retreat because they will cause a lapse in publicity. To make things worse, they come to feel invulnerable because so many times in the past they have gotten away with many risky maneuvers. And if they face setbacks, they manage to overcome them through more audacity.
Hmm.
I ain't gonna call no names. I'm just let that sit, let that marinate.
Maybe
just,
just
let,
one. Just first, just the first initial. I don't know. Just something.
I'm just
Just
let it
something.
marinate. I'm just letting marinate. You put who you want to put in that position, but understand those are the main traits that you typically would see from grandiose people.
Hmm.
And grandiose people typically seem to be most people's leaders for the beginning. These people they're following, they're gonna attach to. Um,
So from these two laws that we just went over, so now we know how to identify each of them. Do you now remove these people or just deal with them differently once you
no,
know who?
you don't remove anybody. You just deal with them differently. The way you manage and
Mhm.
handle people changes. That's why I was. That's the reason why I said I would read this book first and then read the 48 Laws of Power behind it,
Right.
because the 48 Laws of Power helps you understand how to really deal. Really, once you identify this, this helps you identify this within you and then those around you.
Hmm.
The 48 Laws of Power, like for example, never outshine the master.
Yeah.
But you remember earlier it talks about the what is it, the insecure master.
Hmm.
The insecure master, you can't outshine them. That's why he said never outshine the master, because then that insecure master would never want to put you in position to win. It's just like
Right.
earlier on in I can't remember which law it was. I talked about with Lyndon B. Johnson,
Hmm.
how he had to gain people's trust. He went to different sides of Congress in order to gain trust of people who had leadership and had influence. He didn't
Hmm.
outshine them. He wanted them to feel like he was their pupil,
Hmm.
so that way he can have the influence indirectly. And then once they left, he has the influence of all of it. So it's
Makes
still not
sense.
outshining the master. It's still learning from the master. And then remember, like concealing your intent or whatever. Like that's why I
Yep.
said read this first, then read the 48 Laws of Power if you really understand his books, because
Makes
then it help you
sense.
kind of really shape your method of dealing and handling with people
Hmm.
at different levels, especially when you get into like leadership or you start getting higher up in the corporate ladder or even the military. You start having to deal with mixed personalities
Oh yeah.
and people that hold on to that status. Remember the status thing?
Hmm.
They hold on to that status, and that's what defines them. And now you got to look at it like, dang, okay, got you. I know how you are. Let me
Yep.
play into that.
Yep. Okay.
So I mean, sometimes you got to dip into your shadow side in order to get through.
Mm.
You know, it's a strange, just like a strange balance. But the more you see it, you have to dip into that side. You have to face it.
Defense and offense. I got you.
Just like basketball, same time.
I got you.
So, we just recognize some of the signs. So now, how can we put this into practice? How can we actually grow or use these different tendencies to transform it to grow? And he
Hmm.
gives us a little bit. He called it the practical grandiosity. He said the first thing you want to do is come to terms with your grandiose needs. He says you need to begin from a position of honesty. You must
Hmm.
admit to yourself that you do want to feel important and be the center of attention. This is natural. Yes, you want to feel superior. You have the ambitions like everyone else do. In the past, your grandiose needs may have led you into some bad decisions. That's the underlying part. Decisions is what really makes a difference,
Right.
which you can now acknowledge and analyze. Denial is your worst enemy.
Hmm.
Only with self awareness can you begin to transform the energy into something practical and productive.
Right.
Now he goes from that to concentrate the energy. Now, don't concentrate, like we said before, don't concentrate on you,
Hmm.
concentrate on the problem, what you're
Right.
working on. Divert the attention from you to really putting your attention into what you're building. That's why successful people become successful, because they divert the attention from them to the one were the ones who last long, divert the attention from them to what they're building. But then when what they're building becomes big and they want to be just as big as they're building, they divert it back to themselves, and then
Mm.
that's when it all crumbles. So yeah, keep the main thing the main thing.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Uh, and then the next one he said was maintain a dialogue with reality. He said your project begins with an idea. As you try to hone this idea, you let your imagination take flight, being open to various possibilities. At some point, you move from the planning phase to execution. Now you must actively search for feedback and criticism from people you respect or from your natural audience. You want to hear about the flaws and inadequacies in your plan, for that is the only way to improve your skills. If the project fails to have the results you imagine or the problem is not solved, embrace this as the best way to learn. Analyze what you did wrong in depth, being as brutal as possible. See, message. So the other part he said was seek out seek out calibrated challenges, and that's the part that kind of will negate the person that feels that they're invulnerable, right?
Mhm.
When you're seeking out those challenges, it helps you learn, it helps you grow. That's why we talked about with the weightlifting piece. If you're just doing 135, of course that's all you can do. But
Mhm.
if I add 25 more pounds on each side, 50 pounds in total, you're gonna struggle
What?
because you're not used to doing that. You got in order to grow, you have to seek the challenge. You have to
Mhm.
meet it face to face. Do not run from it. Go through it, and if you fail, you learn from it. Failure is not the end. Failure is a lesson.
Right.
It's the difference. So, um, that's why he says seek out the challenges, because from that piece it keeps you humble, like you said before, the humility. It keeps you humble.
Mm.
It has you understand that okay, cool. I'm not invulnerable. I may not be able to deliver everybody. It keeps you grounded. And then the last one he said was let loose your grandiose energy. He said once you tame this energy, made it to serve your ambitions and goals, you
Mhm.
should feel safe to let it loose upon occasions, which is nothing
Mm.
wrong with that. Think of it as a wild animal that needs to roam free now,
Right.
and then or or it will go mad from restlessness. So it's like
Mm.
with animals that go in the cage. You can't cage an animal up for so long. I mean, you
Right.
can, but after a while, it becomes dormant.
Yep. You feel it.
You know,
Feel that all the time. All
that
the
animal, you gotta
time.
release it, man. Especially when your wife come in the door and you're like, "Hey, come here, girl."
What you talking about?
You're like, "Hey, let me let this animal out.
Yes,
I've been in
sir.
this cage for too long."
Hey, man. You already know.
you
You
know.
already know.
So I have a question for you, and I'll answer it as well. Um, have you ever encountered a situation where a sense of superiority created a barrier in a relationship or a workplace? I'll let you go first.
Well, if I was to tie it to both of these topics, it could be true, but I think sometimes the gender of the person in the relationship can make a barrier because a lot of men feel like they should be superior. They should have a certain title in their relationship or a presence that they haven't worked for yet, they haven't earned yet to me. Um, and I think to me, it ties in hand where you should walk like you're a king. You should walk like you're a lowercase g God. You should be confident in yourself, but you have to also know you have to put in the work to become that person that you would like to be known as by your partner or in the environment you're in. And once again, I don't think I think it's not a birthright, or maybe it is a birthright, but you still have to live up to it. Like you still have to claim it. So
Okay. So hearing
that's my
that, do you think when a prince knows in the future it will become a king?
hmm
Because their birthright, especially if they're the first son,
right,
right, of a king or a queen. That they're gonna become the king or queen of wherever, or king of wherever the province is that they live in.
right.
What if that prince walks around like he's a king now? Is that too early? Is that a sense of superiority, you think, or is that a sense of knowing that what's to come?
superiority, because I think the kingship is developed through the actions and through the mindset and the wisdom of a person as they grow. Like, yeah, your blood is royal, but you haven't developed into that leader or that ruler that you need to be. So,
I feel you. So let me see. Some reason I asked that question because I got married young, right? I got
mhm,
married at age 20, like 24.
right.
So I got married young, right? So at that time frame, but I knew, I thought I was the man.
Hmm.
But when I look back at that 24-year-old, I'm like, you wasn't the man.
Hmm.
Even sometimes now, I feel like I'm the man. But then when I probably get older, I probably feel like you wasn't the man. So so do you think that that's really superiority, or that's
I mean, you have to know you have the ingredients to be X, Y, or Z.
hmm
So you have to know that you can become this. But for myself, I just know I had more pieces to make the recipe complete. So like I already knew I could be this superior person or a
hmm
grandiose person, but it's like if I haven't mastered this piece of my life, I don't know how to be emotional. I don't know how to be giving. I don't know how to be this. How can I say I'm what this person embodies if I haven't mastered it yet myself? It's like
um, I mean, you could. I mean, you could be a man. Like I
you
said,
could
I
be a
just think
man.
I think the lessons. I think the whole point of that question was the sense of it. So it's the emotional feeling of being superior. Like, have I, like, for example, have I ever encountered a situation where a sense of superiority created a barrier in a relationship or workplace around me? And I would say yes, and it's not from a marriage standpoint; it's from a work standpoint because I look at work almost like it's similar, right? So for me, I'm gonna say that where I have a director or a boss that's higher ranking than me, and they come in and they say that they want X, Y, and Z done, you know, and I'm working on something that takes more priority than what they're asking for, but because it's they want it at the time that they want it, regardless of what the priority of work that I already have, that sense of superiority is what I encounter, because you don't know. I mean, you don't really know my job or what I'm doing, but you're coming to ask me for something that pertains to my job and what I'm doing, and you truly don't understand it. I'm telling you that that doesn't. We can't do that yet because that will damage something in the future. But because you want it when you want it, now I have to deal with your superiority complex.
I think superiority too, like how you define it. Like I don't think if we both got $100,000 in the bank, can one of our finances be superior to the other?
If that's what you're measuring by, but I'm using this superiority. I'm using this one as because it's talking about relationship or workplace. So I'm using this as this. It must be a hierarchy of either rank or position, or it could be the fact that you have a coworker. Let's say you have a coworker. Y'all both could be managers, right? But
Hmm.
that manager, that coworker of yours, been on that same team or that firm, whatever, for like 5 more years than you have. So they have superiority or seniority technically
Seniority.
over you. But that seniority, they think that's superiority over you when y'all the same level.
Is it only define superiority if, like, can it be one sided superiority? Because if I don't acknowledge it as being a superiority, then that's just
It could be,
then it's just an inflated ego.
which is what grandiose is. Grandiosity is inflated ego.
Hmm.
Because it all goes from the ego. That's the reason why everything to counteract that is to humble yourself.
I feel like it only matters if the person perceives it as being okay. He is superior to me. Like if I'm like, okay, why are you saying all this, and I keep moving, then you could be feeling superior all you want, but it doesn't affect my
Correct.
emotion.
I think, like you said, the person who's receiving it. That's the reason why, like, for example, if Jay-Z came in and was like, um, hey, rich man, I need you to leave your house right now and come meet me at such and such. Like, if Jay-Z came called you right now and was
Hmm.
like, yo, stop what you're doing, meet me here. I got something for you.
Right.
Are you really gonna stop what you're doing and meet Jay-Z there?
Probably would, but it's not. Yeah, I probably would. I probably would.
You see what I'm saying? But why would you do that?
Uh,
You don't know him like that, but why would you do that?
that's what I'm saying. I probably would. Like, maybe I'd be a different person for me because he just ain't that guy for me to be like stop everything. But it is the potential of something being there. It's the potential of an
Correct.
opportunity, I guess.
Which is true. But if you think about one of the people that was in the grandiose leader, is
Hmm.
that I will save you, I can deliver you,
Hmm.
or the promise of big things, but it's vague.
I think I wouldn't move for that because I didn't. I got sunned before, like people trying to push money on you.
Of course,
You know, go do this for me, or you even just seeing people were like, I'll take your girl with the X
yes,
amount of money. Like seeing
yeah.
how that played out, I'm like, man, I would never let a person move me off of
But see, that's
that
because
energy.
you already recognize it, and that's what this first question is about. Is about
Hmm.
have you understand how to recognize it? That's the reason why I asked that question, because some people would not know how to recognize when somebody's trying to use that superior or a sense of superiority to
Hmm.
create a barrier between them. And
Yeah,
sometimes it can create a barrier because once you identify and you see somebody's doing that, you no longer gonna rock with them no more.
yeah.
You may not even interact with them at all no more because they have that sense of superiority, that sense of entitlement towards you.
Hmm.
Um, so my last question before we close this out, though, I want to see is what practices have you helped to help you stay grounded and maintain a realistic self perception?
Stay grounded. Definitely go to for me at least something small. I do like Salvation Army stuff like that. I like seeing the appreciation on people's faces when it's just like things I take for granted. It's just that's the world for them. So
Hmm.
any type of community outreach um, will keep you grounded. And then also, I think just looking at your own life and being appreciative to how far you came.
Oh yeah, that's why I said these two are kind of like these two laws are kind of the same.
Hmm.
One is at a low point, the other one's at a high point.
Right.
You know, for me, when it comes down to that question, what practices do help me pretty much stay grounded and maintain a realistic self perception? Like you said, like I have an attitude. My thing is have an attitude of gratitude. Like my dog over here trying to jump out the thing, trying to be funny. Um, have an attitude of gratitude. So
Hmm.
if you can be grateful for the little things that you have, it kind of helps put things in perspective for you to like understand that you are not the center of the world.
Right.
Things don't revolve around you. You are here to solve the world's problem. So the problem is what comes first. You know, whatever the problem was the problem within your family, was the problem within your relationship, within your interpersonal self, whether it's a problem with
Hmm.
your health, whatever, you have to solve that problem. you
Yeah.
know and that's what I kind of like keeps me grounded, and then just being able to see, like you said, the appreciation of all other people's faces of how you made them feel, as far as the positive of it
Yeah. I
you
think
know
slowing down too. Like I just realized, like when I'm trying to release tension,
hmm
working on breath work allows you to like just slow down. And when you meditate or pray or whatever you're into, just slowing down allows you to be like, oh man, I ain't die today coming back home from work. I didn't get food poisoning from all these different places I ate. Like it's just so many things we get blessed by daily that we overlook because we be moving so fast. So
yeah.
just slowing down.
So before we go, I want to leave y'all with a call to action real quick for us, man. Like I said before, if you find what we're talking about value or interesting, on your journey, whatever we journey through these laws of human nature, please subscribe, like, share this episode, the previous episodes. Go revisit some of our old podcast stuff. Um, you know, Engage with us. It helps. It helps
Right.
grow the community. Follow us on all social media platforms at BGC Club Podcast. Once again, at BGC Club Podcast. It's on all social media platforms. Follow us. Hit the bell notification. Subscribe for more. For more episodes to come. Please share these things. This is for us
Got
to
it.
help each other grow as men. So to conclude tonight's episode, in this episode, we navigated, the intricate dance between envy and grandiosity, right? The two forces that, when left unchecked, can undermine our relationships and personal development. So we confronted these things and we're mastering these aspects of our nature. What we want to do, we want to empower you, we want to leave you encouraged, have you feeling inspired to live the best life that you can possible. but the most impactful life possible. So please, 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 like I said before, keep shining, keep grinding, man. Make sure it's not about what you do, but how you do it.
God,
Any last words?
man, that was a good closing. I love it.
You know, hey, like we always say before, thank you for joining us. Hey, we out. Yeah, man. Get that thing recorded, dog.
It looked like it.